You know, right now, literally right under your feet, there's a whole hidden world. A city of pipes and tunnels, this massive, unseen river system that's constantly at work, carrying away everything we send down the drain. It's honestly one of the greatest public health inventions in human history, a silent guardian that most of the time we completely forget is even there.
So, what happens when that system, this invisible network we totally rely on, just breaks? Well, as we're about to see, the consequences are anything but invisible. In fact, they can be absolutely catastrophic for our health and for the world around us.
Yeah, because when these wastewater systems fail, it's not just some simple maintenance issue or a minor headache. We're talking about a genuine and growing crisis that's unfolding silently right beneath our streets. Okay, so when the system gets totally overwhelmed, you get something called a sanitary sewer overflow, or an SSO for short. And this is the critical failure point. It means the wastewater isn't going to the treatment plant like it's supposed to. Nope. It's bypassing the whole system and spilling raw, untreated sewage directly into our rivers, our lakes, and even our streets. And the cost of an SSO is just staggering. I mean, for public health, just coming into contact with this water can cause really nasty infections. It gets into the food chain, which means fish and shellfish from those polluted waters can make people seriously ill. And for the environment, this sudden flood of, well, nutrients, it triggers these massive algal blooms that literally suck all the oxygen out of the water, creating what are called dead zones, where basically nothing can survive. So, to really get how things can go so wrong, we first have to appreciate the incredible engineering that's designed to make things go right. This isn't just some random collection of pipes. It's a meticulously planned, man-made river system flowing right under our cities. On the most basic level, cities usually have one of two kinds of systems. Most modern places use separate systems. Think of it like two different sets of highways. One is just for sewage and it goes straight to a treatment plant. The other is just for storm runoff and it goes right into a river or a lake. But a lot of older cities have what are called combined systems, where one single giant pipe carries everything: sewage, rainwater, the whole shebang. Now, you can probably guess which one is more likely to cause a massive backup during a big storm. And how does all this wastewater actually move? Well, the best method is also the oldest and cheapest one: gravity. Engineers always try to design the system so everything just flows downhill. It's free. But, what happens when the land is flat or even goes uphill? Well, that's when you have to bring in the heavy machinery, powerful pressure or vacuum systems that pump the wastewater exactly where it needs to go. So we've got this massive, complex system that's designed to protect us, but it is under constant threat. It faces these silent attackers from both the inside and the out that are pretty much always working to bring it all crashing down. One of the main enemies is something engineers call I&I. That stands for infiltration and inflow. So, infiltration, that's when groundwater seeps into the pipes through tiny cracks and bad joints. And inflow, that's when surface water, like rain, pours in from places like a leaky manhole cover. The big problem here is that both of these are dumping massive amounts of clean water into a system that was only built to handle sewage. It's like trying to pour a whole river into your kitchen sink. It's gonna get overwhelmed fast. But there's another threat, one that's maybe even more sinister. It's a chemical one. It's a process of decay that happens completely out of sight, and it's caused by the very sewage the pipes are trying to carry. It's called hydrogen sulfide corrosion, and believe me, it costs cities billions of dollars around the world to fix. So how does this actually happen? It's a fascinating and destructive 5-step chain reaction. First, if sewage is moving too slowly, bacteria start to turn sulfates into sulfide. That sulfide then turns into hydrogen sulfide gas, the stuff that has that awful rotten egg smell. Well, that gas rises and collects to the top, or the crown of the pipe. And waiting up there is a different kind of bacteria that eats that gas and turns it into pure sulfuric acid. And what does sulfuric acid do? It literally eats away at the concrete, destroying the pipe from the inside out. And don't think this is a slow process that takes decades. This can happen shockingly fast. Just to give you an idea of the speed here, there was one case study where a brand new concrete structure lost 4 inches of its thickness in just 4 months. 4 inches! At that rate, this corrosion could make an entire foot-thick wall of concrete just disappear. So when you know about these threats, how in the world do you fight back? How do you actually engineer a system that's supposed to last for 100 years while it's under constant assault?
Well, the first line of defense is picking the right material. But here's the thing, there's no one perfect option. It's all a series of trade-offs. Concrete is cheap and it's everywhere, but we just saw how vulnerable it is to acid. Vitrified clay is highly resistant to acid, which is great, but it's brittle and can break. PVC is fantastic against corrosion, but you usually only find it in smaller sizes. And ductile iron is super strong, but it can also be attacked by acids. So the engineers have to choose the right weapon for the job.
But choosing the right material is really only half the battle. The second line of defense is all about speed, specifically this number right here, 2 feet per second. That is the magic velocity that engineers are always aiming for. It's the minimum speed you need to keep everything moving, which prevents those stagnant conditions that kickstart that whole corrosion process in the first place. It's what they call a self-cleaning velocity.
And achieving that perfect speed is a really delicate balancing act. Engineers use complex hydraulic formulas, like the famous Manning equation, to calculate the perfect pipe size and the exact slope needed. Because if the flow is too slow, you get corrosion. But if it's too fast, the sheer force of the water can actually start to wear away and damage the pipes. It has to be just right. So, all of this science and engineering, the specific materials, the complex math, it all serves one single fundamental purpose: to protect our modern way of life. This network might be out of sight, but it should really never be out of mind. It is a true cornerstone of modern society. It's the barrier that separates clean, healthy communities from ones that are plagued by disease. It really is that silent, constant guardian of both our health and our environment. The engineering is brilliant, and the impact it has on all of our lives is just undeniable. But, as we've seen, these systems are under constant assault, from corrosion, from infiltration, and just from the simple strain of more and more people. So the question we're really left with is, while this amazing system protects us every single day, are we doing enough to protect it? Is it truly built to last?